Well, we'll be talking about chapter 4 in geography, titled People and Places. This is probably the main idea or focus of this chapter is culture, defined as the way of life of a group of people with common traditions, interests, and beliefs. Basically, everything we do is culture. The way we dress, the food we eat, the celebrations, holidays we have, our school system, government, religion, language, just basically everything about our life is culture. Language family, a group of languages that have similar beginnings. A couple of interesting ones. So English comes from this bottom tree here. Where did it go? Oh yeah. So it ends up in the Germanic arm, and Romanian, Spanish, Italian, and French branch off into the Romance languages. However, if you already know English, learning Spanish, French, Italian, Romanian, those languages would be fairly easy for you to also learn. Okay, religion, an organized way of worshiping a spiritual being or thinking about life. And anciently, when I teach world history, religion is such an important part of the lives of those people back then, and it still is very important to people today. Governments, this is a group's political system studied by a political scientist. You could go to college and major in political science. Doesn't mean that you're going to be a politician or somebody, an elected official. You could be, and probably that's your aim if that's what you're going into. But there's a lot of people in politics that haven't gone out in that field. Ronald Reagan, for example, was an actor. One of our best presidents, in my opinion. Okay, a cultural hearth. This is places where civilizations began. In our world history class, we talk about the 4 main river valleys, which are the Nile River in Africa and Egypt, the Tigris and Euphrates in the Middle East. You've got the Indus River in India and the Yellow River in China. And then there's other areas. The Aztec, Inca, and Maya, that's an early civilization there. Western Africa, also the Ganges River in India, and then there's another great river in China. So, but these are the 4 main river valleys where people started, and then from there, of course, they traveled to other areas and branched out. Okay. Cultural diffusion. This is the spread of people, ideas, practices, and goods from one cultural area over to another. So, for example, the Beatles in the 1960s came over to the United States. A lot of people accepted their music, loved it. The young girls, they saw them, they were fainting and screaming and doing all that. And it's kind of started a trend, and we supported it and liked it. Food, for example, here's Taco Bell in London, 1989. Here's Panda Express. I love Chinese food. I like Mexican food. Here's a McDonald's. A lot of these have become kind of Americanized. This is Americans' Chinese, I guess. But, that culture, the lifestyle, trends, the foods, obviously, what we're talking about. So a lot of those things have been accepted by other cultures. Cultural contacts have been encouraged by travel and trade. So as people have traveled around in search of new places, they've made those contacts with other people, and as they've gone into those areas to trade items from one group to the next, they've had those cultural contacts. Maybe one group might have a new technology, a new idea, and they could share that with another group, and together they both help each other. They both become better, make things easier for each group. They might have an item to trade that the other group doesn't have, and vice versa. So again, just a good thing for all the groups, as early societies and early cultures as they have developed over the years. Migrations have occurred because of natural or political conditions. So I always use the example, a good example of a natural condition would be the potato famine in Ireland. The crop was wiped out, and a lot of people moved because there was no food. They moved to other areas. A political condition I use is the Vietnam War. So as America, we pulled out in 1975, and I remember being here in high school and having kind of an assembly where they talked about this new plant, the mushroom plant that was going to go in west of town here, and some of the Vietnamese, Laotian, and Cambodian people that had come to the United States, and they were going to have jobs down there. The government would pay them a certain portion, and the mushroom plant would pay them a certain portion. And so because of those political conditions in that region of the world, those people chose to come here. Okay, natural barriers such as deserts, mountains, jungles, unknown waters have also restricted the movement of goods and ideas. So even though they have moved in some areas, because of some of those conditions that we mentioned, they have restricted the movement. They don't get out. They don't spread those ideas. Okay, people have also created cultural barriers because of beliefs. Again, kind of the examples that I keep giving. In Great Britain, Ireland area. So if you happen to be, let's just say you're a Protestant and you happen to walk into a Catholic neighborhood, if they know you're Protestant, who knows what might happen to you. They could be rude to you, they could beat you up, they could kill you. It's unfortunate, but that's kind of the way it is. And vice versa. If you are a Catholic person, you walk into a Protestant neighborhood, same thing could happen. So just because of their beliefs, they've had these conflicts. And this is a very famous image you might see. It means or says coexist, but it's got three separate religions represented by those symbols. Okay, a dialect is a version of a language. So, the English that we speak here, obviously our ancestors started out in Great Britain, England area, and so we speak English, we can understand them, they can understand us, but sometimes different words are used. People in Canada speak English as one of their major languages. There's also a large population of French and Inuit or Eskimo, and then Australia. So, but because of the time period when they became separated and the distance, that the languages kind of developed a little bit differently. They definitely have an accent, we have an accent, just again, different words used for different things. Those things have changed, and they become dialects. I have a little example here of, I think it was back in the 80s, the Valley Girls in California, and just the different words that they used as they talked. And anyway, there's a description of them talking and her answering, and then they have to translate it because it's hard to understand. Okay? Monotheistic means a belief in one God, and polytheistic is a belief in many gods. So if it's a Christian religion, then that would be a monotheistic. They have one God. Polytheistic, like ancient Greece, Egypt was also polytheistic. The Hindu faith is polytheistic, where they have multiple gods. Animistic, this one is Traditional, often a belief in the divine forces of nature. You believe that there's spirits that reside in the trees or the earth, the sky, the wind, lots of different things. So really believing in a nature type religion. And that's the end of page 1. So thank you.